Good morning all of you student. So welcome again in lecture series on the MSc Physics second year. And we want to continue the first chapter, that is energy resources and energy scenario. And last lecture we have to see here the energy conservation and energy audit, and that is depends on the what is or how much amount of the demands of the energy of the country and how much amount of energy supply and efficiency of the energy. So that depends upon these three concepts was seen in the last lecture. And in this lecture we want to see the next main point, which is the energy management. So that point is the energy management, or the word which is coming, that is the management. So we have to know idea. So what point including about this point? So simply know that what is mean by the management. So that simply say that management which is depends upon the what type of the planning, what type of the security, and what type the audit of the energy, and that depends upon the energy management, and that including the parts of the involving the planning of the energy, direction of the energy harvesting, controlling the demand of the supply of the energy. That those point depends the factors or points of the energy management, and this the controlling the demand of the energy, which is energy to maximize the productivity and also comfort, the minimize the energy cost and also pollution, and with the consequence judicious and effective use of the energy. And that two factors mainly depends on this management. So first one is energy audit, and next one is the MCS, that is or ECMs, that is energy conservation measures. That two main points depends on the energy management. So simply we have to interesting see that. So what is the actually meaning of the energy management? So that the energy management, I have write down the statement. So that is the energy management involving the planning as well as the directing and controlling the demand of the supply of the energy. Planning, directing, or controlling the demand of supply energy, and that demand of supply of energy, which is also depends on the maximize the productivity and comfort and minimize the energy cost and pollution. So that demand of the supply of the energy to maximize productivity, energy to maximize the productivity and comforts. And next point, which is also that depends upon the minimize the cost of the energy, and pollution, so that and minimize the energy cost and minimize the production cost, and as well as minimize the pollution. Okay, and this point, that with the conspicuous and judicious and effective use of the energy, so that minimize the pollution with conspicuous, judicious judicious and also effective use of energy. Use of energy. So let's see that belonging this idea, we have to got the clear idea what is mean by the energy management. Okay, so that energy management, which is depends upon the involving the points of the planning, that planning such as directing and the controlling part of the demand of the energy and supply of the energy, and which is also depends upon the productivity or efficiency, and also the point involving is there, so which is the minimize the cost of the productivity, and which is also as well as the minimize the pollution, and that also with the conspicuous and judicious uh, judicious and effective use of the energy. So that main points that depends upon the energy management, and these factors which is depends upon the energy conservation, energy audit, as well as the energy conservation measures. Okay, and that are the essential function of the energy management, and it is also deals with the energy monitoring and implement of the ECMs, that is energy conservation measures, and function of energy management. Okay, and it is also the in case of the most cases that demand of supply energy are managed independent of the each other, and these are known as the demand side management and supply side management. Okay, so we have to get clear idea to how to manage the energy, or that is directly proportional to or directly consider as how to conserve the energy, how to usability of the energy, or how to controlling the demand of the energy, and how to increase the productivity of the energy, which is helpful as the conservation as well as the management of the energy. So this is important point. Now next point we have to consider here the energy strategy. So energy strategy. Okay, so simply known idea with that is what is mean by the strategy. Okay, or this is simply consider as the in futures what type of the do the planning to conserve the energy sources, and what type of the strategy or what type of the planning we have to use the harnessing energy, or how to reduce the cost of the energy. So that factors that the depends upon the energy strategy, that is for example consider as, so which type of the facility or which type of the study we have to need to develop the energy strategy, or selection, or what type of the selection of the courses, what type of the selection of the education to have to develop most efficient the strategy for the energy. So that energy strategy which is refers to the selection of the particular courses to be followed from the available of the alternative under the current constraint, and that energy strategy which is also gives the guidelines of the policy makers or the planners. Okay, so that is simply considered as, so that is the given the idea about the how much amount of the storages of the fossil fuel as well as the not fossil fuel but the energy sources which is available in country, or what type or how much amount of the energy which is also demand for the country. So that depends upon, so how to strategize, how to planning to provide the energy sources to the country, and that depends upon we have to develop to the strategy or planning of the energy sources. So consider here, so that the energy strategy refers to the selection of the courses to the followed from the available alternative sources. So that energy strategy refers to, I have write down here the small idea that needful to clear the point, so that the energy strategy refers to selection of a particular course, refers to selection of a particular courses, selection of a particular courses to be followed from available alternative, to be followed from alternatives, to be followed from the alternatives under the current constraint, under the current constraint. And also energy strategy gives strategy gives the guidelines of to policy makers and planners, guidelines to policy makers and planners. Okay, so that is simply that energy strategy which is refers to the selection of the particular courses to be followed from the alternative under the current constraint. So that is mean by, so that at the present time how much amount of the energy demand, or what type of the constraint to provide the energy or to supply the energy. If you analysis or test for this constraint, so we have to plan or we have to make a policy how to manage this energy, or how to provide or how to supply this energy for the country. And that help of this study or this analysis which is depends upon to strategize to, or to simply say that to planning of the energy sources, which is very simply to guidelines of this the policymakers or the planners. And we have to see here that India has considered the energy strategy to explore more oil reservoirs, consume the coal for as the possible as the encourage, and two potentials of the renewable energy sources which is irrespective capability being the agriculture country, and strategy to make the rural sector of the development and energy through the locally available renewable energy sources. So that is mean by I said that. So that is need the planning, or we have to make the policy to harnessing the energy. So that depends upon what type of the strategy which is has the India will be thinking on this policy, or which is how doing the study. So that is, for example, India want that the energy strategy which is the explore more oil reservoir, that's in few last lecture, because we have to develop to need the more amount of the storages or stockpiles constructing which is needful, and also consume the coal as for the possible of the encourage of the energy potential sources, and that alternative sources of this coal as well as the fossil fuel as well as the oil, which are the renewable energy sources. And we want to the strategy or set to the planning, so more numbers of the potentials which is absorbed or which is harvest or which is extract from the renewable energy sources, which is also useful or helpful for developing the urbanized area, which and as well as also which is helpful in the rural area. So these two are the main factors of the energy strategy and the energy management. So we want to see the next point, which is also uh, important. So that is the benefits of the energy conservation. Benefits of the energy conservation, or simply you have get clear idea for see those point we have to see in this lecture as well as the last lecture. If you have to conserve the energy, that have many advantages, simply like as the if you have more amount of storage of the energy have available, so that is directly effect on the cost of the energy, or the main advantages which if we have the conserve the energy which is more amount, or very grateful conservation of the energy developing technology if you have, then first benefit which is the reducing the cost of the energy, and that which is also the energy efficiency which is has been in the practice since the, and that practices which is are coming from the first oil crisis that is considered in the 1973, and that today it is more important because the most cost effectiveness and the reliable means the mitigating the global points, and that change the benefit of the energy conservation, which is depends on the preference of the location or the country, and what is the effect on the nation, and what is the effect on the global consequence. So if we see a small idea about, so if you have good development of the energy technology, and the conservation of the energy sources which is good, so that benefits or helpful for the advantages consider as, for example, the what is the effect of the good benefits of the energy conservation at the industrial level. So that first importance or first benefit which is the reduce the electricity bill, that I have said that is directly first benefit which is depends on the energy cost. So here first industrial level benefit which is the reduce the electricity bill, or what is the effect of the nation, or what is the helpful for the nation, we have to see that So that is most of the country which is depends upon the importation of the fossil fuel as well as the oil as well as the energy from the other country or the Middle East country. So that if you do the energy conservation which is very gratefully, so directly depends upon that country which is depends upon the self storages, and that helps to reduce the energy importation, and this is the effect, or this is the good criteria of the or good benefits of the nation level. But what is the good benefits on the global level? That is reduce the GHG and the other emissions, so that is the global level benefits. If we see that the industry level second point, which is the increasing the competitiveness of the conservation of the energy, and that is the on the nation level, that which is help or which is benefit, that the avoid the cost can be used as the poverty reduction, and that we have to consider in the global level, that is maintain or the management or the sustainable environment, or reduce the pollution, which is also and which is for the industry level. If we increase the productivity, that is you if you increasing the efficiency, that have energy sources which is also conserve helps, and that conservation of the limited sources, and if we increase the productivity, if we increase the uh, productivity, and if we increase the efficiency, that is which is also help, or that that is which is increase the profit also for the industrial level, and for we have considered the national level, that is which has increased the energy security, increase the energy security. What is mean by that security? That is, if we have the more development of the energy conservation and more conservation, we have to aware the public as well as the nation, that is directly impact on the global level, that is the productivity, efficiency, energy security, energy strategy, or independent on the importation of the oil and energy sources of the other country. These are the benefits of the energy conservation. Okay, and we want to see the main point is the what is the various effects of the energy conservation is here. So that is effects on that depends upon the usability of the energy, and how to extracting the energy, and how to develop the energy conservation, or how to increase the efficiency, that depends on this point, that is the various aspect of the energy conservation. This will be see in the next lecture. Thanking of you.